Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Mr. Cash, who seeded humanity?
The earth itself. The condition of it, that few degree angle in what we call axis of the earth, creating the 4 seasons, created a combination of fields, interaction, production, and these fields somehow, through the balanced common denominator, interact with each other. Once the condition was created, the water, the oxygen, the hydrogen, and the rest of it, then what came in it is a different story. Life of a planet, life of a structure has sequences. And scientists have not understood this sequence. You cannot produce gases if you don't get the plates, if you don't get a box, if you don't get the water, if you don't get the salt. You can't have gases if you buy the plates, buy the salt, and get the water, but you have no container. You can't have gases if you have the container, you have the water, but you have no salt. So life is the same. It has to be, and it comes in sequences. When one is done, then condition of the position creates the next one. Doesn't matter where you are in the universe. The rays of the sun led to the creation of amalgamation of some of its own back to itself, absorption of whatever to itself, that led to creation of the earth as a matter pieces of plasmas. Interaction of the fields created the gravity. Interaction of the gravity and magnetic fields receiving and giving created dimension of the planet. In dimension of the planet, now you have a field which is a loose bullet in the fields of the what we call solar system. You got, as I call, a knife on the edge of a fast rotating spin stone. It creates sparks. Those sparks are different, they're not all the same, big one, long one, short one, oxygen, hydrogen, whatever. Now you have a container, now you brought the water in, you brought the next condition. And in that process of the knife running against the rotating wheel, you created other things called the zinc and copper and the rest, and the salt and whatever. And then in interaction with each other within the oceans, the right temperature and condition, you cannot produce gases sometimes in a minus 50 degrees, even though they're produced. You have to have the right condition, then you create the right gas. And if you can amalgamate those gases, as you've seen, you create rotation. Then you create some of your life. This is exactly what happened on Earth. But when you have the Earth, you created the salt, you created the water, you created even the sand and the soil. And if there is a matching structure across the universe which can fit to this, can survive in this, it can replicate itself with it. Go back to the teaching of years ago when I spoke about the shoe crab. Origin of the life of the physicality of the man is condition of the man. The origin of this earth. What happened with the soul of the man in interaction with another physical dimension which was matching the condition of the earth? If the knowledge is transformed and transmuted to the soul of the man or the physicality of the man, that's another condition. The race of the man we see today is not the only one. Initially, when the earth was created and the condition came right, there were thousands of men similar things. The one which was a stronger started dominating. And now what we see is men of today. Even if domination was spreading, he split himself into different color and races. So, what's the origin of the man? The origin of the man, the earth is from interaction of some fields. But once you create a condition, the others which come in it, they can live within it. That's why the population of this planet is from outside, not from here, because they can live in this condition. But they're not from Earth. As I always said, we have a beautiful Farsi word. It says, whoever has a mustache is not your uncle. Because all the Iranians have mustache. Then you have a lot of uncles. God help your grandpa and your father. So we have to understand that life is not exclusivity, but life is created out of the condition of exclusivity of the interaction of the fields of this planet. So, where did the man come from? From Earth. And where did the man will go? Again, from Earth, because he's got the fingerprint of the soul of the Earth. You up to now, you looked at, if you moved to China, you look Chinese. If you went to South America, you look South American. If you went to the North Pole, you became something else. But you got to understand, the soul, common denominator soul of the all of them are the same. But the creation is subject to the soul of the planet. So we all have a fingerprint of the soul of this planet within our soul. We have a fingerprint of the solar system within our soul. We have a fingerprint of our galaxy within our soul. And we have even the fingerprint of this universe in our soul. When we go to the other universes, when they look at us, oh, this is from that universe, in that galaxy there and there. That's the fields you produce. You see the separation. If you leave Earth at the point of death, you carry that fingerprint with you. If your position as a new soul, as a new star, is in another galaxy or another universe, you carry all the fingerprints of where you came through the field interactions. Now, you were doing the tracing of where the man came. If you go to United Nations website or the other side, that they trace your ancestors, where you came. And if you done it, he came from Europe, he came to Asia, you were a black man somewhere else. It's the same way now in the dimension of the soul. Through the strength and color and the interaction of the fields, you attract back to Earth. From which galaxy, from which universe, from the rest. It's just because we didn't have the knowledge, we were not aware of it. Now we're aware of it, we understand. So, life of the man, Man from Earth started from Earth. Man from other part of the universe, being a man, we accept them as a man. But in their souls, in a dimension of physicality, we can soon know where they are from. A lot of travelers of the universe are in a black skin. It must be a surprise and shock, but in time you will see. Because when they came to the original source of creation of life on this planet, and not on this mutation. Go back to some of the teachings of the past 3, 4, 5 years ago. I explained this when I was sitting in a cafe in Ghana, when I saw them and they tried to hide behind the lift. We see the original races, not the mutation of races. Then you understand. Life originated on this planet according to the environment of this planet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 458th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 10th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops. And of course, once again, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our guide through the universe once again here. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe, if you're ready to begin.
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back and we try to add to knowledge. In what we just heard as an intro, it brings in and explains a lot of new things if you listen to it in much deeper way. We look at how life created on this planet. We understand it. But it had to go through a process of maturity, creation of brain, creation of organs, creation of emotion, creation of interactions, languages, and a lot of other things. But now that we are opening the doors of the space travel, when you land on the moon or another place you arrive, and life has already taken shape, has dictated its parameters, you will manifest in a dimension of that position and time incomplete. In a way, in a completion of totality of what you need to survive if you decide to go in the dimension of tangibility, living in the dimension of physicality. What would happen to you? The energies you need for emotion of love in that planet doesn't exist. The energies you need for creation of kidney does not exist. The strength field of your liver is a hard, solid metal in that position. And your intestine strength of holding it together is gaseous state. What happens to you? How do you mutate? And how does everything fixes, changes according to the position and time? In a way, you are not born from evolution of millions of years. You arrived, you're there. The planet, the position in the universe has already evolved, created life of its own. So you have to fit in according to the inertia. There is another dimension which man doesn't know. Magnetic plasmatic inertia is different than matter inertia we have here. On Earth, we call it inertia. In space is a magnetic field inertia, which behaves totally different. It's dynamic. Is all the time adjusting itself into the space of time. You not necessarily appear on a planet, you appear in a plasma field, which is sustaining life, but has no tangibility of it. We know this life, we know, we have recorded it, as I've said many times, by NASA in upper levels of this atmosphere of this planet. When we look at the videos and recordings of the space shuttle and the space station, when we see astronauts sending us reports and videos of non-dimensional energy fields moving up and down within the atmosphere of the Earth, upper atmosphere, the same thing exists on the other side of the atmosphere of the Earth in the solar system. We always in space look at meteorites, asteroids. We never looked at energy packs because we don't have tools of it. We measure or we see energy packages coming from the sun and they create havoc with the satellites. But there are other constant, evolving, living energy packs beyond the atmosphere of the Earth, within the solar system. And each environment of the solar system has different life, the same as we have on this planet. We have a warm weather, we have a cold weather, we have snow, we have trees, we have forests, we have desert. The same structure of life without matter state dimension exists in the universe, in our solar system. And then the same beyond our solar system, in the galaxy, and beyond the galaxy, within the galaxy, and in the universe. We will understand these gradually, but we have to be prepared for it and not be ignorant of it, and don't take position that this cannot be. When you become man of space, the way you as knowledge seekers are gradually building up to it, you have to accept everything as you see. You have to stay open-minded. Because you work through the energy fields, you work through the soul. You have nothing to be afraid of because you're open to it. If you go back before we started the flight simulation, I said we listen to anything anybody says because it's their experience. Nothing to be laughed and nothing to be joked, because we didn't go through that transmutation. We didn't go through the cycle they went through. And you have become open-minded. Many of you listen to a number of the recordings of these people coming out of the flight zone, and you listen to them, half mermaid, two lovers being on each other's lap, because now you as knowledge seekers have become and are, and those who become knowledge seekers and the teaching and the technology opens up, we become open-minded, because there is no limitation in the dimension of creation. And part of the teaching of today is this. What happened now, many of you went through the enhancement of flight system and you came out, you are testing, feeling different emotions, different contexts, different approach, and none of you or some of you put it down that what I went through in the experience in the enhancement center. But as more and more of you become passengers of space, you come to understand and see what we call cosmic rays, the strengths of the cosmic rays, how you use the cosmic rays to elevate your soul, elevate your position, how you manipulate understanding of the emotions of the man with the cosmic rays. Then you find new dimensions of love, new dimensions of interaction, new dimensions of what we call giving. So I was yesterday in the lab where the 4 new systems is getting put together, and walking into that lab, I walk in as a man, but as the systems are getting built, some half built, some things are getting tested, some things are getting added, I feel the emotion of cosmic rays and how it's going through that lab. The 2 systems are less than half a meter apart from each other as getting built up. One is stripped, one is half stripped, one has received the unit of the what we call transmutation of the head unit, simulation, one has received the cosmic ray production systems, and you feel that the man is getting ready for the maturity of becoming part of universal community. Becoming part of universal community is not just being a UFO and shaking hand and seeing aliens. The main part of the universal community is the energies, that 80% that you have denied all your life. Now you see them, you interact with them. The way you take vitamin A for this and you take magnesium for that, for your physical condition, you become wise to which fields to take to enhance, to elevate part of sections of the soul of you that will give more, will be there to interact more. Those of knowledge seekers who are working in the production now are getting touched by it because they cannot escape from it. It is a space that they move in and out of it. Some of them are concentrated, some of them is getting put together, some of the fields, half in the system, half outside, interact and you pass through them. It's like the 2 pictures you have. You buy the 2 pictures and you stand in the middle of the gases. These are the fields. These are new dimensions, new emotions, new understanding of the technology. There's no use putting the units in lens in 3-4 weeks' time and you say, that's it, voila, you go in the center. You have to understand what you go in for. You have to see what you can do, what the system capabilities are. You come to understand the totality. Ooh, I was worried about the zinc and I've taken up iron. Now I have to look which fields, in which position I stand, elevates my soul in the dimension of joy, in the dimension of giving, in the dimension of strength of love, in the dimension of transmutation. Because these cosmic rays which we create brings the matching in. Which field is connected to planet Zeus? Which field is connected to moon? Which field is connected to another universe? Gradually, over next decades and hundreds of years, man will come to understand the totality. But now the totality is not just having a satellite going to see how Africa is, or going to see how another part of the world is. It's going to see how it feels to be another position in the universe, and what you can add to that position. What you can take from that you can give more back to. Then you understand now that man needs to learn about a new feeding system, what we call cosmic rays. We have seen this, we have played with it, we never understood it. In many ways, many of you call it aura, the fields around me. These fields around you cannot exist if the fields from outside do not interact with the fields of your physical body. The light, the interaction of the fields on the level of the head of the man, where the soul is different than the body of the man. Absorbs different rays, gives different rays, interacts with different cosmic rays. In a way, your skin layer is protecting you from the cosmic rays and other fields which your body doesn't need. And if you intrude it in the wrong way, what was going to happen to you? You receive fields you're not supposed to receive, and voila, we see different interactions. The doctors today will tell us, oh, at the point of the cut of the body, we see cancer. Yes, there is a mutation, but how did the mutation come in? What fields was absorbed by the body at that point, and what was available to be absorbed? The scientists today go in the depth of the earth, put a pot to see if they can see neutrinos. The pot is you. And neutrinos, fields of the cosmos, go through you like nothing. And how these fields interact, affect us. We see high rates of suicide in the Scandinavian countries because of the long-term winter. Dark times, they don't receive the right fields of the cosmic rays for the soul to be elevated. We see people in Africa, in the heat of the place, in other places, in Brazil, in the jungles, happy people, they dance, they are different. They receive different cosmic rays, which affects their soul, which affects their emotion. You wake up in a sunny day, you're happy. And in a winter day, you're miserable because certain rays of the fields which you need are not there. You can create it yourself. You can bring it to absorb it. Does it matter if you fall in love is in the summer or a winter? Does the falling in love in the winter is different than the way you fall in love in the summer? These are the points that we have as knowledge seekers to understand about the new knowledge. Knowledge of creation, knowledge of understanding. And the more I go into this environment, the more I see how gradually mankind is getting ready for that step next. When you enter the new enhancement unit, they are what I call a universe on their own. We have predictated the condition of cosmic rays in them. We can change the condition of absorption of cosmic rays, and We can change your mood, we can change your understanding, we can change your interaction with the universal community. The technology which is now in development, and most of you in next few weeks will come to test it. Those of you who became mobile, what we call people with registering yourself to become a mobile transportation, those of you who became satellite, those of you who becoming transportation through space will feel this, will go through this. We see how humanity will go to the next step of understanding the new knowledge. We did not know about the currents, we did not know about the computers, but we came to understand the currents, and then we came to build the computers, and then we realized, oh God, they have been here all that time. Thunders and lightning has been the currents and powers which are running, and the computers has been in your brain, the operation of the cells, interaction of the information. We haven't done anything new. We just understood a small process of the creation, and we have replicated it in a different way. Now we understand we actually replicated what we already live in. The same will be in the space technology of the future. When we travel the span of this universe through the fields and not by flight. As I said before, mankind up to now looked at the UFOs that are so advanced, they can go so fast. But it's literally, as I said, is like the man who lives in a village with a donkey and marvels the guy who's on a bicycle and the guy who drives a car. Yeah, that man on the donkey. And we thought the guy on a bike or a car is very advanced. But the other men who are on jumbo jets, rocket space technology, and the rest. And now we are getting to that point that even the dimension of physicality has no need to confirm existence. It's a different knowledge, but in a way, the same understanding. Would man come to be part of this, what I call a structure? Would one day man become to understand a fraction of the totality of the knowledge of the creation? This is what's on the table today. When I sat yesterday, watching, looking at the new systems, knowing half an hour before, I was in the lens in the other two systems, working with their effect, and moved to the laboratory, to the factory, to see the new systems which are getting built. It's literally like a donkey and that car, even though they've both been built in the same environment. The space gap of knowledge gained has created the gap. The space gap of emotion which is learned has created the gap. When you walk into the laboratory today and you see the system, if you understand it, otherwise it's the same frame, if you've been there, nothing has changed, a little bit bigger. But the technology, which is the understanding, the essence of the creation, is a donkey to rocket propulsion difference. Man with the knowledge of today, compared to what is in the laboratory, is literally like man has not even walked, let alone to get on a donkey. And the knowledge, understanding of the man in the rocket. We have not waited to complete step by step, you find something else. We are completing the technology in a way that man literally walks into the dimension of space. You will understand. Those of you who go through it, you will understand. We are even now preparing for this first American to enter Austria through the same system. How would he arrive? In what level he'll bring his knowledge and what they call human characteristics with him? Would he appear in Austria with a black hair, blue eyes, and whatever else? Would he speak fluent German? Would we still recognize him as the man we lifted out of US? Then would the emotions with him would be the same? Would our two first emotions, which will be sent to moon in hopefully January, February, March, as soon as we can complete the other tests, how would they arrive on the moon? There are a couple, one Russian and one European. And how would we see them? How would they see each other? Would they find each other on the moon? Even if we hold them hand in hand when we leave them, when we put them in the condition of transportation, would their physicality on moon hold hand to each other, or one will appear on the north of the planet and one on the south of the planet, crying, looking for each other? Or they come as two souls, and then we see them. We bring them back to the same position. So we expect to see the same people back. But the interesting is, would their emotion will be the same? Would they be elevated in the dimension of soul? We need many of you to register for what we call a space travel. We don't have enough of you. Then it comes to what will be the next. How would governments handle this? How would us as a humanity handle this new change? It's a new knowledge. It's a new school. It's a new language. It's a new technology. Or do we try to put human parameters around it to control it that we are in charge of, we are in control of? Governing does not count when your soul has no dimension. Governing does not count when we do not understand ourselves what would be the position and the condition of arrival. Does our immigration officer in Linz look for a picture of the man in the passport he's been given arriving? Or if a cat passes him by and the guy on the way wanted to see how cats live in Austria, what is your passport, sir? You're a cat, you come in. Oh, I'm just a cat, because we don't have no passport for the cat. And he walks out, and in the dimensional openness of Linz, he decides to see how he feels as a human, and he converts. Because he has reached the knowledge, he has reached the understanding. All these control man has created for himself, passports, borders, money, everything goes through the window. If I can travel in the dimension of the soul and change the physicality, I arrive here, I have no money, I know how to disappear and appear and how to change the strength of the fields. I pop it into an MTN machine, a couple of €1,000. No, but even the machine doesn't feel to a couple of thousand has gone out of its box. Now, you should start understanding the implication of the new technology. Now, we have to understand the correctness of what we do and where this technology is going to go. Somebody wrote to me this morning, somebody says, knowledge against the cash says, talk good, do good, whatever. Yes, we do, but we do according to what you tell us is the truth. And we share that truth with the others. And this is how it will be. You understand the truth by yourself. When you come in, you know the parameters, you know the conduct. When you go on moon, you go to another dimension. There are no banks, there are no restaurants. How do you survive in that environment? They never heard of banking because they take whatever they need from you, or they eat certain things your body cannot take. On Earth, you will not eat. But it's the point of survival, or you tap into the universal energy and feed yourself through the soul. But you pretend to be one of them. Yesterday, when I went around the new two system, I see the soul of new structure, new life. Life that us as human race are not aware of. I saw one of our knowledge seekers who was building this having lunch. And it was amazing how I saw him, and it's amazing how he saw himself. He was like literally a magnet with the light, as you call these plasma balls. You see the lights going. What was going from the system to and back from him? You got to understand the new technology, the new source of essence of the new space systems is very much, as I explained to our knowledge seeker, is like these plasma balls. You remember when you turn it on in your physics classes and you see fields coming out in different color rates and just move everywhere? Now that ball is your soul. It's you who decides where to which system, which reactor, which space, time, and position you interact with. Go back to the understanding of the physics of today. We always thought that lightning comes from the sky, but actually the lightning starts from the earth, because it's the soul which sits out. Now that earth lightning God is you, it's your soul within the physicality of you. Where do you want it to connect to? Now you have a choice. The first few times you might burn yourself, you might end up somewhere you don't want, but you know the reference point back is earth. I go back and then try again. I come here this time with different field of strength, and I'll survive it. I taste it. I enjoy it. In the structure of newer space technology, we confine everything with the cosmic rays. We see the dimension of the field transformation. In a cosmic rays, we are now working 100 billion Tesla. We work with macro and micro and pico magnetic fields. We do not see pressure the way we see on Earth. Atmospheric pressure changes. We feel magnetical plasmatic pressure. The way it changes in the fields of your stomach. I always say the best thing you understand, that you understand how cosmic dimension of fields is in your body, is the odor you produce. Your body produces a gas, and your body changes it from a gas to gas and then to the odor. You are a living example of the interaction of the field in a cosmic ray, in a matter state, and in a plasmatic state. But you never understood. You never could analyze that the odor coming from my body was a gas. And in the process of the layers of the skin due to the construction, it became a gas. And again, through the last layer interaction with the environment, became the odor. We are a living cosmic ray field transformation, but we never understood it. We just went about at your drunk, I'll silence it. I don't let it go through the last transformation. But then we call it the aura. Again, interaction of the collective body fields. Now we have to understand we have no choice, as I said many times. I've taken you too far to let you go. I have taught you too much for you to become and stay ignorant. When we had the last, what we call the space test, last week with one man walking in, driving God knows how many kilometers, hundreds of kilometers from northern Germany to be there, I asked him, get something to eat, whatever you like. He says, I taste the mango. I could feel it in my mouth. I could feel it going through my stomach. Was that emotion of feeling, but actually already absorbing, that confirms to him the physicality has received? Or he could have received it without actually explaining any physical dimension, because he was supposed to explain the transformation he went through when he received that emotion of the field from the mango, maybe down the road, maybe in Africa or somewhere else. Isn't that the dream? You interact and you saw it as a dream. Now, in what we call daylight, in the aware of awakeness, you put reality to that, what you call dream, and now becomes a reality of actually eating. Does your body, how many of you had dreams that you went to a restaurant, you ate the most beautiful food? Did you wake up and felt it in your body and your stomach working? Or was it just a dream? Because that was changed in the sense of emotion. This time it's changed in the essence of soul of physicality, because you're in control of it. You want to feel it. Now you understand how we have set up the systems. And when I ask it to be done and it's done, it's not psychologically setting it up. It's for you to understanding what channels you want to open. Why did he feel mango, but not an apple? Because at that point, the fields which the body needed was the strength of what mango gives you. Then we enter a new dimension of life. We enter a new dimension of knowledge. And we cannot just leave it happen accidentally. We see how we can strengthen the soul that even changes the psychosomatic conditions in the physicality of the man. And how this knowledge, how this energy grows to be so powerful, which we ignored, which was that 80% of the energy which we always ignored, we receive. And we stuck that 20%, the banana, the vitamins, and the cheese. As I said, life has become a bit too cheesy not to understand it, because now we cannot ignore it. Understanding of the new process of cosmic rays, interaction of cosmic fields on the structure of the field of the soul of the man, physicality of the man, on this planet and beyond, will become the knowledge of your, what I call entertainment, enjoyment, survival, whatever you call it. What would you do if you appear in another planet, as we see the flying balls, and they have the technology to capture this form? They capture you as a soul. They don't know there is a soul in it. They might know there is a soul in it, but now you have become that monkey in the zoo, that fish in the tank. How do you change it to be out of it? Or would you stay that monkey in the zoo for the time of your life of whatever it might be. How much connection you have between the soul of physicality and the soul of the man, dimension of physicality of the man or entity that you can transmute between the soul and the physicality, depending on the interaction of the fields. I come here with the soul strength of the position which dictates this will be a dog. I don't want to be a dog, I want to be a man. How do I change it? To I appear as a man. Then the next step is how far does man, how far does the humanity will understand the new science, the new knowledge? As I said many times, we are not prophets. We are universal teachers. That Mehdi you are waiting for, that God knows Messiah you're waiting for, is in your dreams, is in your understanding. To us, we are messengers of the knowledge of the universe, and we share. How much you take evolves how much you will come to understand, to enjoy more. It's no use going to a man in the back villages of Africa and trying to explain to him the beauty, how Niagara falls. Unless you've been to Niagara Falls and you've felt the emotion of the water, how a skyscraper is, how does it feel to be in a jumbo jet? Has no meaning to him, because he hasn't been educated. He hasn't had the television, he hasn't had the mobile phone to see such a thing exists, that wishes to see how it feels to be part of it. How can I explain how to be in love when you don't even have the understanding of what love is? You are ignorant of it because you've never been taught of it, you never come across it, you never had the intention of it. So one day you fall in love and says, this is what the guy was talking about. And all I say to you is, fall in love with your soul, with a dimension of the soul of physicality, that you can live together in any dimension in the universe. When in the coming weeks, we move you from one unit to another, we move you from United States to here, we move you from here to Canada, to Australia, we move you from here to Moon and Mars and beyond. You're the last man standing in that position. How would you survive? Or how would you take the knowledge you have to survive? Or would you manifest yourself half handicapped because you don't understand the rest of the knowledge at the time, place, and position? Because you still want to be half man, but in this place, man cannot exist. The atmosphere does not allow amino acid to survive at the strength of the life of the man. What is the next step for us? What is the extent? This is why we put these teachings now. We moved into soul, you understood. Now you have to understand soul needs a feeder, which is the cosmic rays, which is the interaction of cosmic fields, plasma of the cosmic, of the cosmos, of interaction, which some of these fields emanate from the essence of the creation of the universe, what you call the creator. Then, in that point of maturity, you understand, I am connected as much as it's connected to me. I'm part of it because I create that strength between it and me, that it gives it the dimension of and confirmation of existence. I am the beginning, I'm the end. Is the beginning where it comes from, or is my soul the beginning that it goes back to it? There is no planet if the fields which came from the sun does not slow down in the atmosphere of the solar system, and it comes back and creates that inertia, that mass that confirms the existence of the sun. Otherwise, there's nothing there, it's just a field moving. When you put the earth in front of the sun and it creates that light, you confirm the existence of not only the earth, but the existence of the sun. One cannot be without each other. I am the beginning and I'm the end. I'm the confirmation of one and it's confirmation of me. This is what I tell you, and I always said, there is no line between theology and what we call life, and science, and technology. Once you understand the science of creation, you become theologists, and once you become theologists, you confirm the existence of it through the manifestation of physicality. Then, what do we need? These, what we call people who try to tell us just because they think they can, or is it our ability to be able to do what we do? Being the source and being in contact with the source, because we always ignored it, now we cannot ignore it. Many of you will walk into these new systems and you become light. You shall not see, but those who would stand outside will see. But to what strength you become that light? To what conformation you become to exist to be that light? I made man in the image of myself. But how man will come to accept his own new image? As I said, we brought you from, if you remember the first time I tried to explain this in a Coca-Cola bottle, very first time many of you came in touch with the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation. Nothing has changed if you look at the shape of that Coca-Cola bottle and the enhancement unit. Those probes in it is the helmet you wear when you go inside. The head unit. And the atmosphere inside, the cosmic ray inside, the fields which create inside, is that magic liquid which you've all been asking for decades. What's the magic liquid in a Coca-Cola bottle? Cosmic rays. Now you are more knowledgeable, you can understand it easier. Now you come to see the knowledge has been consistent in all levels. You could understand the Coca-Cola bottle and a few electrodes and something in it, back in the same position. The same Coca-Cola bottle, we call it universal, what we call enhancement unit. The electrodes is your, what we call the head units, and the liquid is the fields that we create and you're part of. It creates transformation, it creates transmutation, it creates nanomaterials. You measure electric current through it, and where did it come from? How many of you, when you first became part of the knowledge seekers years ago, built the first Coca-Cola and measured the voltage and amperage? Where did it come from? You put it down as, oh, it's electric current. No, these are cosmic rays that in the layer of nanomaterial convert to electric. Now you understand. The technology and the teaching has been ever on the same line. It's just how much more knowledgeable you become. We had to teach you about the soul because now you put your head in that head unit, is there, is the energy, is the essence, and what's going to happen to it? We had to teach you about nanotechnology. We had to teach you about the ganses, because now those are the absorbers and the creators and the creation of all dimensions that you call cosmic rays. Then you understand the new technology, the new development in the science understanding cosmic rays produced by us is not anymore in the space, is not anymore There are cosmic rays. The new alien of the knowledge of the man is a cosmic ray on this planet. Because now we produce it. Now we control it. Now we understand its interaction. Now we have found the magic 80% which has been feeding us, and we've been ignoring it because we were ignorant of the knowledge of the creation. The next step for us, there'll be more. As I explained to all of knowledge seekers, we have just entered you in the what we call twilight zone of the knowledge of the creation. The sun is still to come. The beauty of the knowledge is still to be added as you more and more mature. But, as I said to the beautiful young knowledge seekers recently, we have to understand. We have to decide, and not be decided for us. What strength, what dimension we would like to be in. If you see a horse in pain, can you change the strength of your soul? Then you can communicate with your soul and find out what it is the pain is, and convert back yourself to the human dimension, or interaction of fields of confirmation of information between the two, and give him the right remedy. Would that horse will be another creatures from another dimension of the universe? You have to understand his pain or his joy, and how you can help it, how you can give to it to alleviate his pain, or feed his sources. What would you do if you come across a being in the universe that it's in need of magnetic fields to survive? And part of that magnetic field is the structure of your soul strength that it matches. Would you give it? Or would you hesitate giving it to him with the end of me? As a traveler of the universe, I give it, because you have missed part of the knowledge. My strength is that what I give, and that strength I can receive, so I can become a feeder to him. I become the essence of his survival. My giving for him to survive is a dimension that I'm like what we call intermediary. He cannot tap into it, but he can use me to tap. And would I stay in this position for him till he's satisfied? Maybe 1 millisecond, maybe 1,000,000 years, that his survival is guaranteed. We are not talking about romantic. We are not talking about something imaginary. You will come across it. Now you become what I call travelers of the universe. The first thing some of you, especially understanding this technology and going through it, is how do we deal immediately without what I call delay with those who live above us in the upper atmosphere, in no dimension of physicality but energy packs. The world of science has to deal with it. They're part of the structure of the creation of this planet. We are aware of their existence. We are the bottometers, as I said many times, of the Earth's atmospheric condition. What falls from their remnants of their energies, we collect. We are what we call the cut. And we take everything. Bits of energy fields which falls from the sky, from their interactions, from their leftovers, in a way, most probably part of the experiments is what is we need to survive. We couldn't accept this, we couldn't understand it, but we have a confirmation of it. We have pictures and videos of them. They exist, they move. Where do they go? How long do they live? Where is their fallout? And then the other creatures. And how do we interact with their souls? Because we don't understand the language. We get the fish, we know what it does. Now we are that bottom eater caught in the tank of the atmosphere of this planet. And then the same is beyond this atmosphere in the solar system. We say we know about 1,500 mammals or whatever creatures on this planet. There is hundreds and thousands more above us, which we have ignored. But doesn't mean they don't exist. How do we interact with these? How do we guarantee their survival? How much our soul is in interaction with them and the others? In this process of the new understanding, we went from the soul, not the cosmic rays. We have to understand the interaction of the cosmic rays, the fields of the universe, with our soul, with our star. And then, what will be the outcome? Does those children who last a few minutes or a few hours after they're born in the field strength of purity, that immediately they interact with the cosmic rays, which matures the soul of physicality, has no need for. The soul of physicality is mature. We call in the death of an infant, but it's a maturity of the soul, which are received the fields which we wait for decades to reach to that point. Because the soul is there, it's interacting. Instead of receiving 80% in bits for it to survive 100 years to mature, that it can live instantaneously at the point of birth, because of its strength field collection, has touched it and matured it. There's no need to wait. We know this, and I said many times, go back to teaching. How do the babies and infants communicate with each other, and they know their position in the hierarchy between each other? Interaction of the soul. Be it the infant, Chinese, a black, a white, a blue, whatever. But in one room, they know each other's position. They know, they're aware of each other's existence. So now, the teaching is going in the direction of the food of the soul, the life of the soul, the existence of the soul, and what we call cosmic rays. Or we can call it, because there is no other word for it in the vocabulary of man today, we call it the cosmic, or the rays of the creation. A part of it is the rays from the Creator. In a way, the rays from the Creator to you is like that satellite beam feeding back the weather forecast. It's going to be rainy, it's good here, it's going to be sunny today. Your soul sends messages back to the Creator. Here is a problem. There is something needed. There is something, the weather is good. Everything is happy. We receive enough food. We are that satellite, as the Creator is satellite to us. Because there is no physicality tying him down to anywhere, as our soul has been tied down within the dimension of the physicality of the world. Understanding separation of the different dimensions and the strength of the what we call universal fields or cosmic rays will be one of the main occupations of the scientists of the future. You found a new vitamin, you find a new plant, you find a new animal. Today with the science. Now with the understanding of this creation and the process of the creation, now we'll look for what field strength will give us the position to such a galaxy. What such a field strength will give us the strength of the emotion of happiness. And as I said, in Quran, Muhammad, bless his name, says, I've written 99 names of the beauties of attributes of the Creator. And one, the last one is when you read the whole Quran, you come to it. That whole is the creation, it's the universe. And those attributes are different interactions of the fields of the Creator within the man, within the emotion of the Creator itself. So, how many more essence of information, dimension of field of the universe, man still needs to learn? 99 is a scratch on the surface of the knowledge of the Creator. 99 power, which means 10 to the power of 99, might just bring you to be a small part of it. How many much more emotions and attributes of the creation is there that we live with it, but we are not aware of it. Then you understand, we need in the coming time to understand how we create, what cosmic rays we create, what I call interaction of the fields of the plasmas we create that leads to creative the condition. This is the essence of the new enhancement unit. This is the essence of the world of creation. Then it comes to the point, as knowledge seekers, as Mr. Kish moved the what we call the goalpost further, we came to learn about the GANs nanotechnology. He moved to GANs, he moved to the other one, he moved to the soul, now to cosmic rays. But you're educated from the A to Z. Your foundation is solid. What would be after universal energy, what we call cosmic rays? Would it be then that I understand the essence of my own Creator, as I am part of it and it's part of me? Then I wonder how many of you will call yourself to be God. Or you become humble enough to be part of the process of His teachers. To teach the others to understand the totality. We go for a small break and we come back. And now I hope gradually in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I'm putting you in the direction to understand how to feed your soul and how to start living in the dimension of the universal community, in the dimension of the plasmatic fields and not dimension of physicality of the life. Rick, if you'd like to take us to a break and then we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We'll have a short commercial break here and be back shortly.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed.
This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo, and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a space technology that allows us to work with the fields of the universe, creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions. It allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the body can follow to find their balance and elevate the whole of the man. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, technology of the future through advanced plasma knowledge.
Okay, we're back at the 458th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here. And I believe Mr. Kesh will be ready to entertain questions in the second part of the program. Is there anything you'd like to say first, Mr. Kesh?
Not really. I think we have to gradually, what we call, educate our people to understand the process of creation. That there is no mysticism and nobody is above one another. And we all become knowledge seekers and share the knowledge of the creation. And that's the whole essence of the teachings we do, because up to now, all these has become exclusivity, and somebody who understood more became whatever. And this understanding of the total structure of the creation will put an end to this, because we're all the same. Knowledge should be there to share. Knowledge should not be a point of advantage, and whatever we do with it, and how we do with it, how we deal with it, and what the way we come to understand it. And I heard something very interesting yesterday as well of the knowledge seekers, sent me a link that what gives the religious leaders to call themselves the appointee of the Creator. And we've seen it. Appointed, reflection of the prophet, and reflection of the Creator, because I manage with a gun policy to push people and get what I am. It's a very interesting video if you look for it on the internet. Because now we understand we are all connected. There is no exclusivity. It doesn't matter whatever name you have put on yourself. From Ayatollah to Pope to anything else. And this is what we have to understand. And once we understand, we don't accept superiority. This is many, many times, and I've said it many, many times, and I repeat it, I'm still a knowledge seeker. It does not matter how much knowledge I carry. Because I seek the knowledge of the Creator. What interaction of the fields of His life has created that we didn't understand, or we need to understand, and somehow we need to share it. When somebody calls himself reflection or replacement or being whatever or whatever, it shows the man has come to the end of his understanding of his own creation. And it's time for him to move on. If you listen to the first intro, we're talking about the enhancement units we just had a few minutes ago. Listen to it. And listen to what we thought in past 2 or 3 weeks and even today. Isn't it what was promised to do, the enhancement unit? And now you understand the science behind it. Now you understand how it does, how it feels, how it will be instant transmutation, and what it is, because many of you have tested it. We're back to square one. We are back to square one of the knowledge of the Creator and not ours. Any other question? Let's start with somewhere.
Okay. Well, I'll mind our attendees here. They can raise their virtual hands, and we can allow you to open the microphone. Okay, perhaps we can begin with a question in the Q&A from Paul, who asks, are bad experiences that we perceive as trauma a physical or psychological condition? Where are these stored? Thanks.
You have a computer called the brain and it's stored in it. And depends what it does with you, how you refer to it, or you just forget it and put it in a back burner and just remember not to do or remember what it can do with you. It's part of the structure of your soul of physicality. And in the dimension of soul of the body dimension of physicality of them, your soul has no problem touching a hot pan or the fire, it doesn't get burned. But when you're a child, you touch a fire, you get burned for the rest of your life. That's not for my physicality to touch. I learned my lesson. Your soul has no limitation. It goes in there. It's made of the fire field of the strength of the dimension of the free, what we call field. So where does it get stored? In the part which touches your physicality. The same happens in the dimension of the soul of it. What touches the soul in that part becomes part of the information of this plasma. You might create an evolution, a revolution in it for a while, but then it settles down. It's like getting hit by a meteorite. If your soul survives it, if the earth survives a meteorite, what that meteorite brings, the change of atmosphere for a short time or a long time, it becomes part of the structure and it remembers that with a dent on its surface. That such a meteorite has hit. Such an energy has come in. Such a material is added to me as assets, as a facet of my existence. But all what you asked is literally part of your dimension of physicality. And as always said, get a child, touch a fire, never go near the fire because he feels the dimension of physicality. Put the soul to it. It doesn't do anything with the soul, because soul is part of his energy, free transportation. The soul does not burn with the fire, but the physicality does. The soul does not feel the pain of the fire, maybe even rejoices because it adds to it, because it's on the dimension of free energy, it's giving it out freely, but your physicality could be literally destroyed because of it. But you remember not to touch the fire. Because your soul will jump in the fire because it means what it's free to take. It's not taking it from the fire. It's what I don't need to irradiate, I take. Any other questions?
So in that manner, we can, by soul travel, soul flight, we could place ourselves on the surface of the sun, for example, and we don't feel any pain. There's no...
No, because your soul is another dimension. You will see the interaction of the fields. You cannot burn a soul. You cannot burn a plasma. You can open it up or do the field of the compressions of the field, shrink it, but you cannot burn it. If you change the dimension of the plasma in a condition to manifest its physicality, then something will happen to it. But in the dimension of the soul, do the suns burn each other?
Well, what about in the dimension of cosmic rays that say come from another galaxy? The highest energy ones apparently come from other galaxies other than our...
They come from other universes. Forget about the galaxies. They come in different dimensions. But
so do they affect the soul?
Yes. We will not feel it. We will not detect it if we didn't have something to receive it. It's part of the need we have in our soul to receive this. We cannot. It's what I always said. You cannot receive it. You're not there at the strength to receive it. If we detect the cosmic ray to our body, it means our body has the field, the strength within the structure of soul, our physicality, to receive it. It is not just for somebody else's. If it interacts with us, if it's there in the atmosphere of this planet, it means the soul of this planet has that field as part of it, that it attracts it. Even if it goes through it, it has created a condition for it to be done. Otherwise, it doesn't come your way because you don't have the strength of it. Even if you're in passage of it, it's going through 8P to get to the source where it is or connected to, your body, if it wasn't a strength field dependent on it, will move away Look at the magnets you put on the table. The fields move across, the move field side when it's not there, when it's interacting with them and the strength they need to interact with. The soul of the man is the sun. And in essence, unless it gives all its energy or receive more energy, it's always a field has got no tangibility unless it decides, or unless a condition confirms on it in a universe that changes the manifestation dimension of physicality. There are many, many other conditions of life the man has not even understood. We call it the solid, we call it the liquid, we call it the gas, we call it the plasma. There are many, many other conditions beyond this that man has still to understand. There's a 10th state of matter, there's hundreds of states of matter. But we haven't understood. How can we explain it? It's liquidish, but it's gassy liquidish. It's solid, but it's liquidish, solid with a gas. Remember, always go back to something very simple. You all play lottery. You take 49 numbers and you choose 7 of it. And to get the same combination twice, you need something like 14, 15 million combination. Now, the field strength of the universe is 10 to the power of 49 to the power of 49, if you put it that way. See what combination a few of these can create and have different strength of. Then you understand how much man has not understood even the process of the creation. We are happy with the wood and the glass. We are happy with the gas and the water. But much, 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 much more. You just become aware of the gases, fields of the plasma within your body, and you still don't know how to handle it. How does it that gas becomes a bone, and how that gas becomes my hair, and how in which position we call it the root conditions created to convert the gas and the gas into hair. And why suddenly my hair changes from white to black and the black to white? How come I was born brownish and now I'm blackish? This is what you see every day. You haven't understood. What position, what field changes goes within even what we call the seed of the hair of the man. Forget about the rest of the knowledge of the body of the man. We handle it with chemicals to change the color. Oh, I'm white, I have to get black. I'm getting old. Go and ask, why does it get old? What has changed in the root? What fields you have changed? And what can you put as, oh, I use gas number 1 and gas number 2, and I did some of the cup of life. My hair grows a little bit. Hello? What field is strength? What feels the combination of these things created that has been a shortage in the wish of your soul, in the dimension of soul of physicality, that you change the color of your hair. You take one part. If you understand the totality, it becomes very easy. You can stay hippie as long as you live in every dimension of the universe if you know what field energy that hair needs to grow and stay hippie and black. Why some people don't change any color of their hair and they've got a bushy hair all their life. They're born with a carpet and they die with a carpet in their head. God knows bushy. We haven't even understood this. How come your nails produce the way they are? How come your skin is the way it is? We always looked at physicality, look for the interaction of the fields. Interaction of what creates that condition of the fields. then you can be anything you like. One of the experiments we'll do in transmutation very soon is changing the skin color. When we transmute you from one unit to another, we ask you, would you like to be blue, blonde when you arrive in another unit? Or what your wish has been? I wish I was born black. Would, when you arrive in another system, will be black. And your mother denies you, says, Mom, you tell her all the stories she's done with you. I had a white child going in this machine, you come out of like, cannot be. So we will see, we will feel, we will understand. We have no choice because now you're in it. Stupid Mr. Cash has built a system. I go in white, I come out black. I want it to be black, but I don't. I'm going to go back to the first machine again. Sorry, come on, zebra. Because half of you wanted to be black there, you wanted otherwise, so we made the zebra out of you. Come out as a human with a zebra. Is that good enough? We see it. We are doing a lot of experiments in the background, which is not in public. And we see we have finished with 80%, 90% of the present world of medicine. And the other 20 we haven't understood. We haven't understood, but we haven't managed to complete a system. We've done with a huge amount of the productions and energies. If I tell you, you laugh because you don't understand. You know, if you remember the lady who could taste the water and drink as much water, if you understood the implication of that, if I create the same fields and sustain that fields over the desert, over the plantation, would the plants and trees wait for the rain, or they take what they need as much as they need when they need? Have you ever understood? We know the fields of transmutation of the field of the water from the cup to the man. As she felt she was flooded, she was taking so much water and she could feel it. I can do the same with the plant. There's no need for irrigation. To you is a magic knowledge. To me, I know exactly what to do with it. Do you need to give ganses and get a beautiful plants when I use ganses? Or did you understand the energy which you create that condition? As long as you're working with the ganses, you're still in primitive condition. When you understand the interaction of the field of it and what it does with the other, you have no problem. You don't need a gans of CO2. You can even do it with the gans of water. You can even do it with the gans of gold. But the fields which that plant needs to grow will reach to it, and it doesn't need any water. Understand, as I've said many times before, interaction of the fields, and then you're free from the shackles of physicality. But now when you understand those, now you have to understand the fields of the universe, what you call cosmic way. Universal fields, not cosmos. Cosmos is limited to man and his universe. Universal fields goes from the creator to the man and beyond. And then we are complete. Any other question?
Okay, I've got a question from Brazil, from Claudia, through Cristiano. Hello, Mr. Kish. Good morning. You said that you have tried several times to bring peace to this planet, but we still see nowadays the persistence of men wanting power, money, and on the other hand, I listen to your teachings about love and peace, which I have always longed for in my life. My question is, can you tell us if you are seeing differences in human behavior today in relation to thousands of years ago when we were trying to bring peace to this planet? Or is it only through technology that this behavioral change can occur?
At the moment, wherever we see war, conflict, is to do with religion. Man, peace policy of gaining land and the rest is done. Man has realized that's all it is, what he has. The situation we see in Iran, internal war, is completely to do with the ignorance of what we call religion. What we see in Ukraine is again, background is religious between the Catholic Church and the Church of Russia. When man sorts out the problems of his soul, we won't see this anymore. We don't see the invasions, what we saw in the Second World War. These things are finished. At the moment is the last remnants of the stupidity and the arrogance of the turban and the hat. When man puts that turban down, when man puts that hat down, that what is under this hat and turban is equal, same with the others, then we are back in it. We see the flaring up these, especially the situation in Iran, especially the situation in what we call Ukraine. We don't have conflicts anywhere except that religious people fighting for what they're not entitled to and what they want to hold on into. It's very interesting. One of our knowledge seekers sent me a beautiful bit. Church of Russia has bought the biggest property opposite to the, I think, Norwegian naval base. Why does a church need to buy property opposite the biggest, largest naval base? Has a religion gone into marine warfare or keeping an eye on the name of the religion? The wars of today, the way we see it, is irrelevant. Man soon will solve this because once you learn your role equal, religion doesn't go anywhere. What we see with the conflict with Israel and Iran is again religious based. And this religion business, the soul as man gets educated, just belongs to a few and they die off. In the next few weeks, we'll see the end of the revolution in this process of the religions. And then we'll see how we move into the next step. And this will come with the technology. Once we start moving people around this planet through enhancement into the evolution of soul, all this will go through the wall. We are a few days, few weeks away from it. I've seen the evolution in the knowledge seekers who are building the systems. I see changes which is coming up with the spread of the technology in different ways. A lot of you have volunteered to be satellite, and some of you are there to do the what you call mobile transportation. New people who become mobile translators will change the world, will change the perception of the superiority of the soul, and you change the superiority of the travel and control. When we do the first transmutation complete, we'll take the cameras inside. You will see it. Cannot be denied. Then, would you like to spend 18 hours, come from Sydney to London? Or would you spend 18 microseconds and do the same thing? Then would the governments allow you need the passport to come in, or I go where I like? You make sure I'm comfortable when I arrive. I know how to get into your MTN machines and have as much money as I need. Every time I run out, I just pop in and pop out. It's a very interesting, very interesting position. And I go through it, I've been through it a few times. If you're not in it, you cannot understand what I'm talking about. But if you feel what I'm talking about, it gives you an amazing experience when I speak about ATM machine. If you listened, if you haven't been to the center, if you listen to some of the recordings when Dean interviews some people on the software, you hear like a noise in the background, like a forklift moving and noises in the background, because the back of the two enhancement machine, you see a white curtain. Behind this white curtain, there is hundreds and thousands of ATM machines brought in to be installed across Europe or whatever. Be it from parking systems, automatic, being like cash machines. And for us to go from one part of the cash foundation, which most of the staff do, to the what we call our storage depot, our dispatch depot, they have to go through these machines to get there. So every time I go from the what we call the exhibition center to the dispatch, I have to go through, it's like maybe 100 meter, 150 meter, and it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these machines sitting there, waiting to go to be installed in car parks, in banks, and whatever. And I call them dead men waiting to be given a soul. And if you can be part of, now we know hundreds of thousands of these machines are everywhere, and you're at the source. I think this is the biggest depot, must be one of the biggest depots in Europe, holding hundreds of thousands of these machines still in packaging. Then if you can get your soul into the soul of the machine, you just wait to be loaded in 1 year time, in 10 years time, in 6 weeks time, and you have to access to all the cash in the world you need when you're given life. Then is there a need for a financial world? If I know how to get into these machines through the dimension of the soul, I become that invisible man, invisible soul. Then does money have any value? Then I was talking to one of our very young narcissists, I think yesterday, the day before, yesterday in the center. He said, when the perfect world, there's nothing we can do, everything is done, we can have all the food. I said, we're going to get bored. You got to do something. You can't sit there just because I get everything. Find yourself a hobby, find yourself a job, education, and find yourself a sport that you can keep the physicality, the sport, and everything else in motion. You can't say that I just wait till I die. You have to evolve. You have to elevate what I call the soul. You can't just sit there. We don't see people in the universe sitting there just because my soul is created. I wait here till the soul is finished. We don't have zombie souls in the universe. We have to understand we are gifted now with the knowledge to understand the knowledge of the creation and the creator. Would we use it to bring to ourselves superiority, or do we use it to bring balance with others, that we are all equal? In this interview, as I said to you, sent to me, it's one of the Iranian mullahs. In his talk, he says, who these people think they are, that they are from God and they have the rights to kill with the name of God. And he's a clergyman. Remember, go back on the teaching a few weeks ago. You remember what Muhammad said? Said, I took the love of God from the tribe of Moses, and they will start becoming nomads. And I gave that love to the people of Christianity. A few weeks ago, we took the love of Creator from the clergy of Iraq. And within a few hours, few days, you saw. Clergy has to be a point of peace, not a point of death by gun policy. We took the love of God from those who use the soul of the Creator to harm the others, be it from Ayatollah to the soldier who uses the name. If you manage to bring a tribe to be a nomad for centuries, these people are nothing to what we do. Doesn't matter in which side of the Islam you sit, Shia, Sunni, be Christian, whatever you are. When a man who's supposed to be representative and the soul of the Creator and Christ is on a wheelchair, that shows already physicality does not accept the lie of the soul of the Creator. You remember a few years ago, I explained to you, we built a unit to go for the Pope because he had a knee problem, he couldn't walk. And we helped him and he walked. He went against us, he's back on the wheelchair. He went against all of us that we wanted peace and his game is war. He's in Bahrain on a wheelchair. Man of God, the Creator, should be walking head high to deliver his message of peace. Look at all the religious leaders today, be it Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, be it of this, are all bed-bound because the physicality does not accept a lie which is trying to enforce on others. Just go back. Just a few weeks ago, before all these problems, we took the love of Creator from the turban and the same that. Because it's time for peace. It's time. The peace comes when we all accept you're equal. The peace doesn't come from firing a gun. And peace comes through the soul. And we still have those who think they're arrogant, they can muscle it. But unfortunately, this time they muscled it. And we'll see the change. As was said, no man will take the crown of kingship. No man will take the hat of liar of religion anymore. We're done and finished with. And as you get educated, the man gets more and more educated, realizes we're all equal. You don't need to bend, to kiss, and to lie. On a wheelchair or in death. Still trying to say, I am appointee of the Creator. We've seen the Creator, he hasn't appointed anyone, not even us, let alone the lot. Any other
question? Yes, we have a question in the Q&A from Cristiano. Actually, this is the second part of Claudia's question, I believe, or a second question. You taught us that inhaling CO2 gas can quickly elevate our soul of man and make us peaceful men. With the planetary transition, where planet Earth will change its position in relation to the solar system, the amount of cosmic rays and greater amount of hydrogen will change on the planet. Can you tell us if there will be changes in the concentrations of atmospheric gases. For example, the plasma fields of CO2 gases, and thereby influence our human behavior.
You got to understand why we said CO2. CO2 kills you. But why we said CO2, and I explained this before. You have a carbon-14 and you have a carbon-12. Carbon-12 is the essence of creation of carbon of man as part of your amino acid. Carbon-14 is a connection to universal cosmic ray, or what we call carbon-14. Carbon-14, we don't look at it as a speck of carbon. We look at it as the field strength, which is interactive, connected with all other fields. It's like a bridge. So when you talk about CO2, we are not talking you inhaling CO2. We're talking about a connection of the plasmas with the field strength of the life on this planet and field strength of the universe. So you have to understand the knowledge. Otherwise, excuse me, stick your mouth at the back of an exhaust pipe of a car and see if you get elevated. Yes, you're gone. Physicality has no time to live. Understand the knowledge. And then, does it matter where in that process the carbon of the physicality amino acid uses the carbon of the, what we call fields of the carbon-14, or connection, universal connection between the fields to exist. Even when we talk about carbon-14, we're not talking about as an energy plasma. We're talking as a connection of the fields. It has more parameters to connect in the spectrum of the fields with more fields. Nothing else. It's like one has a plug of one outlet, the other one has a plug with 20 outlets, but connected to the other one, which is the same. So understand the knowledge, then just stop talking about the atmospheric and changes and the rest of it. Man is connected to gravitational field of the liquid and the gas, one in the dimension of oxygen and one in the dimension of what we call carbon. You have to understand the essence of the source of the inertia of the field of the soul in the dimension of solar physicality. And then you understand why you have nitrogen in your amino acid. Just look at the energy field strength of it. Then you understand how everything is connected. What happened when you go on another planet which there is no energy level as oxygen? You die? Don't think so. You mutate to the fields which guarantees the evolution of survival of the matter state of the fields when the soul converts or interacts with dimension of physicality. I explained this once if it can be understood. Get yourself a very powerful gun and create yourself different atmospheric conditions in front of this gun. And shoot a bullet, let's say of water, which goes as fast as possible through these different conditions. One is frozen, shows itself as ice. The next section is high, shows evaporation. The next section is conditioned that the same water shows itself as a steam, and thereon and thereon. This is how the fields of the universe are in the condition of the life. Depends what you're observing, what condition was created, and how the bullet for which the field has released, in what the strength and what condition it goes through. But in essence, it's the same water which was bulleted through the system. It's the strength of what we do, and understanding the strength of the creation and the process which the environment has created for manifestation of that creation. And it's how we do, how it's done, and what emotions you take with it, and what impressions it gives them. Any other question?
Okay, from Ed in the Q&A here at the Zoom. Is the 7 candlesticks or the 7-headed snake over Jesus and the Buddha the 7 chakras, giving its energies to the soul to expand? And are the cosmic rays the depiction of the light in cylindrical form? You might say that.
What? I think we pass on this one.
Okay. I have a question from Antonio in the Q&A. Has there been any interest in doctors in Australia in setting up a wellness center?
We don't disclose, but we do. We work around different lines. Yes, it's just our Keshe Foundation, as many of you know. We entered a position nearly exactly a year ago with the introduction of one of knowledge seekers that we can create facilities and conditions that the foundation can grow rapidly. But it hasn't worked. As we asked for some of you to help us to finance it, and some of you got stuck with us, create you some problems with it. And part of this expansion was creation of the health centers around the world. We have come to a conclusion this week that this is dead. We put an end to it in writing today, this morning, before I come teaching, as we think we've been deceived. But in any shape or form, we'll carry on and we'll see what comes up. But part of the process, yes, our target, a long-term target, is creation of the centers where the people around the world can go. They don't need to go to Austria or to go to Germany or to go somewhere. In every country, every city, part of the hospitals or whatever is now, like we didn't have X-ray machine, we didn't have MRI machines in the hospitals 30, 40 years ago. We had knowledge added now. All of a sudden, the technology of the plasma technology we teach will become part of another room section in the hospital. And hopefully, in the long run, there will be no hospitals because gradually we learn how to do it. And that will be the part of it. And there are a number of doctors who work in the fields of the health of the Keshe Foundation in different countries, and they do different things. And we observe, we watch, and our priority at the moment is the health center in what we call every corner of this planet, using the present as what is already established as hospitals. Because once you have it, you got to see what we see. We have a man who is suffering with Parkinson, and after 10 years, and after a few days, few weeks, there is no sign of it. How much do you think we can keep away from others to suffer from the same when the knowledge for it is there? Or, as I said very frankly, we open a clinic on the there is no FDA. Anybody who wants a Parkinson, please go to Keshe Foundation centers. We transmit you to the space. The health centers, the wellness centers on the moon will process the situation and send you back with that. And that's the bottom of it. Literally, you got to understand, once we complete this process of transmutation, we will become a condition of doing what we want to do for betterment of man without government. And the beauty of it is we've been kept out of the what we call public eye. It allows us to grow the way we want. I received something from a gentleman this week. I'll read it to you if I find it. And he's the man who sits behind a lot of things. And he wrote to me, he's one of those who makes a lot of things happening around the world, as he says. He says, you are one of the most influential scientists in the world today. With the science and the technology we bring, we have to influence the pattern of life, the way we as knowledge seekers bring that positive change to society, and for nothing else. Nothing else happens. And our target is to bring this technology to its fruition, bring this technology to do. If you have diseases that are uncurable today, would they suddenly become curable tomorrow when we open what we call wellness center on the moon? How many of you travel to Switzerland to do what we call self-suicide because they allow you the facilities are there to do it? How many governments would allow the Keshe Foundation systems to go in their country? Therefore, somebody comes for 10 minutes, half an hour, and goes back without any condition. Do we create a condition that we put a few thousand systems, or we create an environment that anybody with a cancer will go through, will be done, and then would the governments have any say in it? This is what we call, there's going to be a lot of controversial, a lot of movement, a lot of things to be done, but at the end of the day, who is benefiting by it? We invited German Chancellor to come to Keshe Foundation in Linz. And would we see end of the Parkinson she's been going through? We saw in public before she left the office. Would that give credibility to us? We don't need the credibility, because if you have managed to save or change the life of one man, we've done enough. The others have to follow. Because we don't use medication, we don't enter into giving medicine. It's not job of us. We understand the physicality is connected to the soul, and the systems we developed elevates the soul. Physicality follows, and then it has to sort itself out. As I call, is the medicine of the fields of the Creator. What we saw in China, the man walking and then running, we can read it 100 times. Millions of times. No man today, with the knowledge which sits with the Keshe Foundation, should suffer from Parkinson, should suffer from Alzheimer's, should suffer from MS, should suffer from fibromyalgia, should suffer from many, many, many diseases. But at the moment, our governments and our doctors are the same as those with a turban on hand. They lie to themselves, and they lie to the others with it. We don't claim we discovered a cure. We explain the process of creation. Knowledge, science has to be explainable and repeatable, that it can be done. You have a Parkinson. Keshe Foundation has a technology for it. And we have proven it, even in the recent past. You have Alzheimer's. Keshe Foundation's got a technology for it. You have MS. Wow. We can put you through it. And a lot of people claim to. And we've got this, sure, to do whatever you like. Technology has to be understood and then be able to replicate within the framework of totality that it benefits all. If your emotional field strength causes Parkinson, which again, emotion is part of magnetic field strength, what happened when in a space you come across this field out of nowhere? In 1 second, you'll be shaking like a leaf with a full body Parkinson. It just passed through you. I've got to sort it out. I have to put you back in the system. I know exactly what it is and take it out or add to it or take it away. Then you come normal. You go in like a vibrator. You come out as a man. None of you have seen body Parkinson. Body Parkinson people are, God help them. They shake from head to toe. Then should be able, we tried different technologies, we tried different aspects of the technology, and now it's universal system for it. You suffer from Parkinson. The Keshe Foundation doctors should be able to process this like drinking water. When they have the knowledge, when they have the systems, and we can support it with the support of those who are really knowledgeable and not those who are hypocrites. You got to come to a point to understand as a technology and not as a privilege and not as a something on the side. Any other question?
Okay, the second question from Antonio is, the megawatt power systems, have any governments shown interest in setting up a unit in their countries?
You got to, how am I going to put it? Going to the patents. When you open a patent, you see we introduce light bulbs and things which have no wire connection. Use microplasma, or what they call power. This is the thinking of the man. You have to have mega power stations. You need energy at the point of need. I'm a nuclear engineer. I've been trained to make power stations, to build with the transmission lines, to substations and to the homes. With this new technology, there is no need for a power station. There is no need for transmission. There is no need for substation. Now we can produce enough energy at the point of need. These man-huge nuclear power stations, these man-huge, God knows what, has come to an end. And funny enough, I was sitting in front of one yesterday. We were discussing it with our people yesterday in the lab. Keshe Foundation has developed a system that can be replicated, energy available at the point of need as you need. Micro, we got a patent on it. We have submitted a patent on it. Micro plasma reactors now are reality. Today is a reality. Patent was filed nearly 20 years ago. The units are built today. I sat in front of understanding it yesterday with our knowledge seekers. Don't need mega power, blah, blah. We have developed the technology. It needs to be, now that it's fully developed, commercialized. Micro, nano, plasma energy unit, which produces current and voltage to the point of the need, now is a reality in the hand of the Keshe Foundation. What they tell you, they're trying to build these huge fusion reactors to create the energy of the sun, to have mega power, is dead, is over, is done with. Because what is needed is what you need at the time of need. And what we submitted as a microplasma reactors, power generators, which is patented or put in patent application, is the reality today. I can tell you because we have it. Is developed, is understood by our team, and is part of the new enhancement unit. Why we had to complete it? Because if you come to the present enhancement units in Linz, you see we still power one of the controls with the wire, with electricity. Our reactors don't really need it because they're self-sufficient. We need the power they produce themselves in it. And now with this new technology, production of the microplasma reactors, we don't need megawatts. Why do you need to burn? Why do you need to destroy so much things, so much whatever, to again destroy so much, dig up mines to make the transmission lines, the coppers or whatever, the frames or whatever, destroy the environment, and then there to bring it in to produce little tiny electricity that one LED lights can light up, which uses a fraction of a micron of a watt. Where now you can create this plasma cosmic ray miniature reactor, which we patented 20 years ago, and it costs a few cents. Would you not have a distributor box on the table with you plug your what you call television and the rest into the little box and it gives you all the energies? Maggraph systems, with the knowledge we have today, we created, are obsolete. And is sustainable. So, as the technology has developed so rapidly, the knowledge has developed so rapidly in past 12 months, as our people understand it and develop it to the next stage, that most of the things which is on the table a year ago are obsolete. You saw it from the size of the reactors inside the enhancement unit, to those of you who've been in the systems, that you've seen what miniature things are hanging around. Why do we need mega power? Maybe last week or maybe last month, yes, we were talking about it. But sitting here, wasting so much energy, going to where we're going, do we need it? Because we put it in the pattern. 2005, 2006. Today, that pattern is reality. We have managed to get power out of the plasma without going to hundreds of thousands of degrees, the center of the sun. Fusion technology as of today is obsolete. Absolute. Always said fusion is a dream which doesn't come true. But now interaction of the plasmatic magnetic field leading to creation of the current as a need of the man is a reality in the hand of the Keshe Foundation. We will overlook. We don't need even the way we sat yesterday in the lab looking at it. We don't even need the gas generators, which we told you. Technology has jumped in past few weeks. Would we go to the next steps? Is what our people have to understand to develop the next stage of. This is completion of part of the process of the Keshe Foundation technology. Nano micro reactors are a reality if you understand how to work with gases and the production of it. And we have achieved it. And we haven't achieved it in millivolts and little volts. We achieved it in what we can multiply to what we like. This is understanding of the technology. This is the development of the next step. Since yesterday, when we don't forget, we set these things up to happen. It hasn't happened accidentally. Our team has been working to set this up for weeks. And now we have technology, we have oscilloscopes, we have everything, we have systems, we measure and confirm. I sat yesterday watching as it was getting explained what's been achieved. I said, yes, the pattern microplasma reactors for the core battery is complete. Do we need to create energy for what to lose it down the line? We're now with the cosmic rays to understand it, we can change it. The new energy units are cosmic ray units, what we call nanoplasma systems. And it's been patented 18 years ago. Today, for what our team has achieved and what we set up to achieve, we don't see any need for such a position. What you see on the screen, submitted as a patent application in microplasma reactors, today is a reality. And it costs very little to do. And the way I see it in the next few years, it can be embedded in any electronics. You can embed it in what we call automotives. Don't forget, the European community has passed the legislation by 2035, 12 years from now, 30 years from now, they cannot sell any car which uses fossil fuel. Means fuel stations will become a joke at a time of the past. In 2035, maybe 40, 50, because they have to allow the cars which are now in this condition, maybe they bring conversions for them. They cannot go to any fuel station anywhere in EU to tank a fuel because it's not there. These fuel stations, the way we see it, are gone. But now the plan was to put the power stations outside the city, burn it or use a solar system or whatever, and bring the electricity to cables to new type of energy fuel stations. With what we have achieved now, today, this is obsolete too. It brings the what we call energy conversion system of the cars years ahead. Because we have confirmation, we have systems, and we don't have any running anything. We produce the condition of cosmic rays and it gives us that energy of the universe. We just need to convert it to what we need. I said yesterday, we're done with the pumps. Because even if we have a pumps, it doesn't make any difference. And even if we have a pumps, we can't generate the power internally. We did science in past few weeks. We developed a new enhancements units to go to lanes, has lived by hundreds of years. And it's thanks to a very competent, capable team we have, and they're just working on it, developing on it. And I say, I have to keep away from it because every time I go there, I change things, and then but they have to understand where the change comes from. Even the process of understanding the conversion, it will take a long time for our people to understand. And we are in that process. We've done the microplasma reactors, our reality, and in the application foundation today, because we literally see it, we have it, we operate within it. Don't look for mega power stations. Now I think we're going to go into very micro and macro different directions. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a couple of hands up here, but perhaps you can answer Dimitri's question in the Q&A first. Will the Ukraine-Russian war be the last war that we, humanity, have to experience?
The war is a habit of man trying to show he's better and he's stronger. And this will come with what we call understanding of position of our religious leaders. In this Ukrainian, we see a hot spot. There's a possibility of very strong hot spot boiling somewhere, again to do with religious people and religion. And that might take his own condition, his own shape. Again, we see collaboration of the religions under the name of religions in trying to bring a politic into it because they can justify it to sell a weapon. But more or less, end of these two religious situations we have in Middle East and in Ukraine, we see the end of a lot of things. We saw the end of the wars. We saw like Vietnam and what we saw in a lot of countries. Peace state now in Somalia, what we call Saudi Arabia, is again between the religions Shia and Sunnis. And as usual, others take advantage of meddling in it because they can make money out of it. But Ukraine, more or less, it'll come to the point that we have seen the end of these last religious positions. Governments will not go into the war. There's no, even the war in Ukraine is, we call it a war, but it's a religious conflict. And this should soon come to an end one way or another. And we see an end in the situation in Iran, again to religion and the freedom of the religion.
Okay, that's good news in many ways. We have Dean with a hand up here. Perhaps he could go ahead.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Kesh. Thank you for that wonderful explanation of what you've spoken about today. So this microplasma reactor, would it carry an emotion?
Yes.
I remember you once said
100%.
100%. So, Mr. Kess, I remember you saying once that you could have a reactor in the palm of your hand that could move a planet, reposition a planet.
Still applicable if you understand it, yes.
Mm-hmm. So the emotion in mankind, and when it manifests in certain ways, it causes conditions that manifest in the physicality as all sorts of problems and diseases and things. When you turn this system on, will this emotion affect humanity in certain ways?
Of course it does. Depends on what the strength of it is and how you see it. And what your soul decides to have from it, in what target it has to reach or achieve, or it sees itself shorter. Emotion, as I said before, is not exclusivity of physical dimension. I made man in the image of myself. If physicality has emotion, so the image of it, or reality of it, the soul of the man has emotion.
I noticed today, Mr. Kesh, that as usual, when you were speaking, and you've spoken about before, lots of birds started turning up outside my vicinity of where I am right now, and I always know that you have a presence, a physical strength that a field strength that is present. And around us in each and every moment. So so the birds themselves, Mr. Kesh, you spoke about earlier on, going to the sun, and people are needing the energy of the sun and taking certain positions around the planet. So would this explain why birds have a migration and they move from one place to another? Are they following this field strength?
Partially. Yes, partially the way they go for the survival extension of the soul. But something very interesting is when the birds fly, we have birds which stay locally, with the birds which fly from one continent, one place to another, immigration. They're at a higher altitude. Do they absorb a different field of strength? Do they work on their geo-cosmic rays? I'll give you a very, very interesting point that I know the answer, but I'll leave it to you to decide. We have birds on this planet which go from one place to another. Do we have the same kind of, in bracket, birds which travel between galaxies and universes? Bird being free, unconditioned connection. And so, yes, they do. When you go to places, you see it, you've done. A lot of people who use gases see a lot of birds. We had this problem in the Mongolia. Mangani is here, she can tell you that when we used the gases in the experimental trial, the farmers in the farm were complaining they'd never seen so much birds are coming and eating the seeds. Because our harvest was completed days before the rest of the harvest, which wasn't using the gases. So the birds know they were coming. And after even eating so much, as I said before, we still had an increase in production. And they feel the fields. They absorb, they understand. If you put the specific gases in your garden, you will see huge change in bird flow. How they flow in and how they flow in and how they go, and you see the change because you create a connection. We've seen this many times.
So, Mr. Kesh, when the seeds, if they go through a plasmatic condition of being in contact with the ganses, they get a different field strength. They get elevated, and then the birds take this elevation, and then they migrate and take it to another position. How does that work? So you spoke about birds from the galaxies and universes. Obviously, there will be. How does that happen in micro to macro? So
The same.
if a soul comes from a galaxy and then comes to a planet, does it become the totality of the planet? Because it has to become very much smaller. Because if a soul can be a galaxy or a universe, how does it condense itself to then be a planet or a man or a cell? How does that operate?
It's a dimension of the field compactness, how you compact it, to what size. We goes back to always said, I think it's one of Rick's favorite things. One atom of hydrogen can cover the whole of the solar system. It depends what room you give it and what you allow the fields of it to be. Simple example, and many of us see, you take your plant in one place on this planet, small leaves, and you take it to another position and the leaves grows totally different giants. And this is the same. It's dimension and acceptance of the dimension. That's the main thing. If you accept to live in that dimension. Would there be creatures in the universe which are highly intelligent? They become travelers of the universe. And they are, if they come to Earth, the size of the dinosaurs of the past. Or there'll be a small amebs, but intellectually very high and more advanced than the human race of today. Depends how you want to condition yourself. Or how they want to accept to confirm their existence. You all be facing this very soon. Very soon. Amazingly very soon. With what is coming up in technology.
That was going to be my next sort of observation, Mr. Kesh, was this always comes around to a position where everybody's going to have to experience this. Everybody's going to go through this if this technology evolves and becomes everything that you've spoken about. So this position will be as one cell in our body or one cell of the planet, the whole of humanity will have to accept and go through this transmutation.
It's not acceptance. We make it so available that it goes through it. We have brought something very intriguing with all of you, and I've said that before. Any of you who have produced gases, any of you, even you produce gas and you left the Keshe Foundation, left it on the shelf, in a very short time become part of our process. And any of you who took a sip of gases for different reasons, or washed yourself, or accidentally fell on you, or you dropped it and it touched you, soon you understand how you have become part of this process. You know, I explained that before, that the prince who thought he's a cow and he wanted to be killed, to be slaughtered, and the physician came and put a rope on his neck and pinned it to the floor. And he said, "You're too skinny, I have to feed you till you mature, then I slaughter you." And the guy stopped eating. And then he said, wow, I got this noose around my neck. We are in that stage with human race. We have put a noose, we tied it down, we are feeding it till it becomes wise. And we're in that position. And very soon we'll take the noose off.
Interesting moments to follow, Mr. Kesh.
From what I've seen in past few days and past few weeks, what is coming out of our development side, I said to our knowledge seekers, our team, once I complete this cycle and we go exactly where we want, because our people have to understand it, and then it's done, we release it freely to humanity. And I have enough to live and I have enough to survive. But we bring it to be, that's our target, that every man is benefited by it. It doesn't become just the knowledge seekers have this knowledge. It has to be the position of every man on this. And part of this, what a lot of you helped us, was to set that up, but apparently mankind is not ready for it. There's no time. And the way we did with teaching you how to make ganses, teach you how to make magraves and other things, will make it free for every man to have access to microplasma systems, to have access to systems which they can elevate their souls. Don't forget, when we talk about the microplasma, you still look at the electricity, if you can have your power running. When we talk this microplasma system, is this cosmic rays that you can use to elevate your soul. You look at your matter side, you look at the essence of the creation to be elevated. And you can feed the soul, and the soul feeds the physicality that does not need to kill. And does not go in the back of the ATM machines to catch money, because he has everything, he gets what he needs.
So will this elevate the planet as well, Mr. Kesh?
We elevate the universe, forget about the planet. In a way, it's a recycling garbage machine. Whatever is surplus in the universe, which nobody else needs, we collect them, make it food out of it. Without the source to elevate. They say it's part of the work which is not exclusive of this time. It's part of the totality. Don't forget, I keep on going back to it one day again, one day you'll understand. Mitra collected the best of the best to create his child. Then this child will send the best of the best to elevate the totality of what was collected. From creator to the creation and back to the creator. And one day mankind understands what I'm talking about.
I'm just looking at the core now, Mr. Kesh, on this microplasma reactor, and it's black and white on the screen. A digital representation of it, but we can connect with it with a thought and intention, and set the emotion within it. So the physicality part of it can then recreate exactly the technology that you are putting forward to humanity.
Yeah, this is the way I remember when we drew this up. And Dirk worked on this a whole long time. That was his dream. And he drew, and I said, no, it doesn't go that way. It doesn't represent, because he has to stand all levels. If you look at that little drawing on the bottom left of this battery, it represents more or less, if you look at it, what is in the back of the book number 3, if you understand it. But in a different way. it took about, I think, a month or 2 months to do this drawing, because it came in stages. But in essence, if you can enlarge it, Rick, enlarge the bottom left hand drawing. The right hand drawing, the battery has a physical dimension to it, because that's what people understand. The bottom left manifests the plasma. If it can be expanded, and you can see it. And the totality of the essence is layering as a plasma layering, not layering as a matter state as you have a balls. And if you look at it right in the center, it says plasma. It doesn't say gas. And that plasma is what we call the essence of the fields of the universe. Now, maybe after 20 years, you see those words and it makes a sense. It makes what we call understanding of it. This is part of the technology which will be opened up gradually.
Will these be these reactors, Mr. Kesh? You say you're going to open it up to humanity and it's for everybody. So, how are you planning to distribute this?
What should I distribute? We still set up to build the factories for Okanda too, but structurally, a lot of you will do it, will copy it. As I said, all the efforts of the Keshe Foundation will go even into commercialization to back Markray Corporation. We have signed an agreement with Markray. And we go through international distribution to Markray International. We are the majority shareholders. And we control every aspect of Markray. And we soon will go in that direction. It's very much like Tesla has a factory in every country in the world, but based in the US. We go through the same channel. We'll back Markray to the hilt, but we will not issue anything beyond that, and we allow Markray to become one of the largest corporations on the energy side, food, water, and everything else. And then the shares of the Markray is owned by Keshe Foundation, which is owned by you lot. I came with nothing, I go with nothing.
So that's helping humanity physically, Mr. Kesh. The position of the, we've spoken about many times about the elevation of the soul and stuff. Would this not be an instant reaction from the core?
It depends what you need from it. What's your expectation? And that expectation creates a need and absorption.
What is the expectation from
Depends on the individual.
your viewpoint? From your viewpoint,
I have no expectation because somehow things are set to be done. We are just actors in a big theater. When you look at the structure, if you understand it the way we understand, hopefully, the scene is set by the creator Amitra, and the rest are actors. They're what I call spectators. How it will change. This new technology, this understanding, will have a profound impact on the whole of the structure of the operation of lives in the universe. We will soon understand. You waited, as I said, for UFOs to understand how they go. Now people with the UFOs are waiting to see how humanity understood this, and they missed it. They tried to get to it. And then you go back to other part of the teaching, as we said, the cup and the orange. Now the knowledge of energy level becomes that orange, and the cup is the universe. Mankind has not understood what gifts we given.
May I ask, Mr. Kesh, why is humanity being handed this gift that the others didn't receive for trillions of years?
Ask Mitra. And ask the child when the time.
And do we ask Mitra through our thoughts?
Depends where you look for it. I held one and I kissed one from the day I opened my eyes. And I understood what it means loving one. And she happened to be my sister. And now we have to deal with it in a different way. Because it is our knowledge and integrity. We respect the same. Any other question?
The sun's starting to shine very brightly, Mr. Kesh. Thank you for taking my questions. Very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We have a hand up with Antonio, but before that, I'd like to address a question from Lisnu in the Q&A. How does mushrooms such as Amanita muscaria helps or alters human or other creatures' soul and brain?
I do not know. I don't take mushrooms.
Okay. Antonio, would you like to go ahead?
Good morning, Mr. Kesh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
From Antonio from Australia. Question on the satellite system.
Can you just hold on 1 second? I'm going to lose power on my unit. I have to switch. 1 second, please. I'm back.
Yep.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, the question, Mr. Kesh, on the satellite, do I need GPS and elevation as a criteria for the satellite? No, the mobile, sorry. The mobile, I'm getting confused now. I'm looking at both systems, the mobile system, yeah.
We will be running a test on the mobiles. We have set the things out. To set the mobile up, we have a procedure we have to follow, and The first person we are putting through this, we have started a procedure for that in a very physical way. And then we go back to other mobile, see how it works and how we transmit you across.
Yeah, okay. Yep. That and the satellite. How does that? Yeah, just not just wondering how is there like a group of people connecting together?
It's like what I call, a Zoom call like now. It's hundreds of you in it.
Yeah.
It'll be very much. We tested this with Rick a few weeks ago, if you remember.
Yeah.
That is a prelude to, and then if you remember with a session we came live in, and many of you were there. We did the transportation back and forth with.
Yeah.
This is we've done a lot of tests, a lot of things happening. We need another 200 satellite people minimum, which we are short of.
Yeah.
If we get 200 more people, it makes it easier to operate. We need at least another 50 mobile people to complete. We need mobile people who can come to links that we can send out. You mobile people all think you have to be where you are with me. We need, as much as we send out, we need people to bring in. So on target, we are short by about 250 volunteers. Then we are short by at least 12 to 14 people who we can send into space. Because these are conditions we have to test on the system. It's not just having it. A lot of you came in, we do a special test for certain things. So in around about 300 people out of you knowledge seekers, we need at least 50 people in links to go out. At least to go out. That we understand the full. We need about 150 people to bring in.
Yeah.
We need satellite people. Knowledge seekers suddenly all stopped. They thought, oh, no, you will stop when we test, we develop. And you lot stop. Some knowledge seekers came back second time, third time. We need, especially next week, 2 weeks, we need at least these to be signed in and people to come in. Because when we put the units in links, we need them to be tested. It's just not there for the beauty.
Yeah.
You understand? And then we have the mobile people. We need your mobile people from links out, not just to bring in. Can we send somebody to you to Australia from links and then bring both of you back here? Because we have to do this. The original mobile system will be done that way, that we have a connection to bring you in.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's a lot of things. Knowledge seekers that, the tests were done, the first few people came in, and then we had an idiot 1111 guy who came in and went and wrecked up the Italian community because he didn't get what he wanted, a thief. And he wanted to rob us to get himself fame. He didn't get it. He went and came up with all the rubbish in Italy and destroyed the whole Italian community. We are very straightforward. We don't get it, you don't get it. We don't complete the systems. Nobody goes nowhere with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's aircraft sitting in the aircraft hangar. But what we have now, we can start working on. We need mobile system people who come to links in the next few weeks that we can send out. We need. It's a development technology without control from the government. It's us who's developing it.
Yeah. So you want, say myself coming to Linz, in your system, or do I have to fly there 18, 20?
We need a bunch of Europeans who are closer to come
Oh.
to Linz. You understand?
Yep.
And
Okay.
then when you people who are very far distance in Brazil, in Australia, whatever, we have to bring you in, but we have to start testing how we transmute. You understand? It's not for me. I can do, but our systems, our developers have to understand everything which is done and how it's done and what it needs to be adjusted. As I said, if you remember, when we started the enhancement, we started with 3 helmets, 3 head units on either side. And then we went into the enhancement unit, and then we went from the left to the right, because as we developed, we kept on changing. To you, you come this time, next time is the same, but you don't know how much changes were added from the day when we started, what we took out, what we put in. Some of the reactors changed, some of the head units changed, some of the connections changed. And this all came by you lot coming into test. We are more or less, we are short by 200, 250 people to complete. The satellite people. We need mobile people. Come to Linz that we can send you out and see how you land, how you feel. Can it be done? And then put part of the satellite unit. They'd like to be with you, Antonio. And they come to Linz and say, I want to go to Australia and come back with you. We send, we bring back. And then we bring back on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And suddenly everybody thought, oh, they had enough. We have come to the point of literally a halt. We have a number of people who booked in for mobile from all over the world, and they're sitting in their homes to come in. We need mobile people. From here we can send out. We need people with the satellite that we can connect. We need mobile people in Australia and in Canada that we can switch you over. We can take you across.
Yeah.
We need people who can go into space. I was talking to the heads of the Keshe Foundation a few days ago. They said, can we do a Christmas pack? We always do Christmas pack. I said, yes, do me a Christmas pack for people to do the mobile and satellite and the space. And how can we put it together? I said, okay, sell a package for a mobile, a satellite, and a space for so much, and see how many people will take it up, because we need it. This year, a Christmas pack will come from the Keshe Foundation. It is not anymore to, what do you call it, MAGRAPH system, this and that. This year package, if they can get it done, it'll be a space unit, because we have to do the enhancement. It can be done this week, next week. It's not there for next year, somebody will come. We don't have it, we toast, we don't test it, we don't risk it. We don't go that, we don't go to unknown. We need mobile people inside Linz to go from one unit to another. Then we can go outside. We don't have mobile people. All the mobile people who sign, I don't know how many of you there are, all sitting in your countries. Thank you very much. But we need you, doesn't matter what you are, to come into Linz, and we can ship you from one machine to another to see what it is, what it needs to be adjusted. We're short. We are short. Suddenly, somehow, knowledge seekers all thought it's done. No, we just started it. We are short by 12 people for a space.
Yeah.
There's no use having the machine sitting there doing nothing. We need today at least 250 people for satellite systems, mobile systems. 50 at least. You have to come to Linz for us to test.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the machines are sitting there idle.
I would love to come. I would love to come, Mr. Keshe.
I would love to have people that in the next 4 or 5 weeks, when we said we most probably in December, we start a test. Would we run a Christmas run that knowledge seekers would travel around the world on the Christmas Day using the cash management. We've done things like this. Today, we need people to sign in. We are short by 200 people because we know how many people we need to do the transportation from one system to another. Check everything works. We take the whole body, not the leg left behind and everything else inside the room, because it's one cosmic shell. If it can be done, then we can go outside. Then we can go to space. And I said to our team, make a flight package for Christmas. You're selling, what do you call it, whatever we sell in the shops.
Yeah.
Come in, do it. We do a satellite, we do a thing in a package. It has to be done. Don't wait for the Christmas pack. Come in, sign that we know we can plan. Otherwise, it comes to a halt. And then you tell us, oh, we became, yes, but we have lost the number of people who come in now for the next cycle of the new systems. We finished with all the tests with the present system is finished. We had the last guy last week. And that was actually, I enjoyed the last guy more than it because it was maturity of everything we wanted to do. And now we need people to start signing in for December to start testing the flight systems, the new transportation system that we can send you out to bring it back in. Can we send you out for Christmas to North Pole to see the Santa Claus, or what they call it, the Father Christmas? I don't know. We need to. If we don't get it, we cannot do it. And we are short. We are definitely short. Now that we have come to this point, we need knowledge seekers to come back in onto the side this week, because we cannot plan if we don't get it. And I was doing a full calculation because we have to check on the emotion, what goes, what things move. We need 200 more people into Linz, 50 of them at least. Europeans to come into Europe, into Linz, and maybe we do God knows, Christmas trial. We've done that before, and see on a Christmas day, if I remember Dr. Kostova and the Germans and the Canadians, we did to stop our system. Maybe now we can transmute people for Christmas in a beautiful day. Has to be done. Otherwise, the technology comes to a halt. Literally comes to, because we can't. If we don't test, we don't know. If you're Germans, if you're French, if you're Italian, if you're Swedish, whatever. This week, today, sign in, because we need it. Now what I've seen in the lab, we need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, put it this way: we can put out people with cancer and with Alzheimer's to go to the German and test it there. It'll be hundreds. But we need this to be done. This needs to be done. So we say, if you have a Parkinson, you get the flight package, what do you call it, free. If you go to the clinic in Germany and you pay tens of thousands of euros for it, and if they can accept you. Don't work that way. You understand? We need to do it. We've got to be directly in what it is. We are short. We are short of about 200, 250 volunteers. On 50 definitely from Linz has to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And flying, come in, sign into it. Don't sign tomorrow. I think about it. We have come this far. We have to complete. And then we need the other 200 satellites we are short of. If we cannot cover, we cannot reach. Because I will map up the Earth with wherever the satellites are. And then we might come to you and says, we need people in Iceland. We need people in South America in this position. Because the network has to be fixed.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing this up, because
Yeah.
I didn't know how to put it out. As I said, the souls know what to bring out to come out. We need, if you're a knowledge seeker, and we have discussed it with the, with the team here, this year, Christmas package has to be the satellites and the mobile systems. And if any of, we are short of 12 people to space, and I know why we are short by 12 and where we're going to do and what we're going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is the charge of this very heavy 25,000 per head, but we still can do. We already have volunteers, but we have to complete it.
For that, you still you would have to come into Linz, would you? For the,
we try not to, because by that time we have completed the satellites and the mobiles.
Okay.
We by that time we should have no problems.
Yeah.
One of the beautiful things with this will be is that we can send an Israeli from Tel Aviv, we can send an Iranian from Tehran, we can send a Chinese from Beijing, we can send an American from wherever, a Mexican, a Brazilian, and an African as a team of 6 or 10 to moon.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
And see how they land, how they'll interact in the soul level. How would the universal community accept man in such an immigration? People don't understand what is involved in this new space development. It's not anymore if you can take off from American land with the seat of your pants in Europe. It's scientific. It has to be done the correct way, and it has to be laid out. Our team of developing is there, but we know what we need to do to complete the transportation. Would it succeed? How would it succeed? How the last people we had, the Germans and the French guy, how did the French guy could feel the German pushing him off the chair? Now, in the next system, can we make it physically they share a chair together?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a test case, the knowledge seekers, we had to sit the two on the lap of each other in one system, as I explained, to see how it'll be what we call like beautiful people with two souls as one body in a system. Would the system recognize the difference? We need this to be done, and it cannot be done by imagination.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot come, you're in Brazil, you're in whatever, you can tell us, I pay for somebody. Keshe Foundation will find a lot of volunteers. There are a lot of people who want to do it, but financially cannot afford it. We have enough people in Europe to fill up for 10 years, but financially they can't afford it. If you can say, okay, I give for 2 people, 3 people to come, and one of them comes and pick me up back from Australia, it'll be done.
Yeah.
It's not, but we need it to be done this week, next week, because this is something now we're getting to that point of getting it done. Discussing with the Keshe Foundation, the promotion this year. If you do a Christmas promotion, do the packages of space flight, mobile people, and the rest of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people let me express that. Some people have sponsored Universal Council members to come in on the 6th of December, if I'm correct. 6th of December is St. Nicholas Day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and it's the birth of the child of Mitra. And it's there to sit, to watch, and see what we can do. Can we transmute the soul of the what I call Universal Council members as what we call the soul of Mitra across this planet by that time? Would we be ready for it? We need this, and thank you very much for bringing it up. We need this support. We need this physical support of you in the link center that we can start. We have to test from one machine to another, from the other machine. At the moment, the machines are one-way traffic in one of them. The new system is a four-way traffic, so 2 chairs in each unit, and each one can be crossed from one unit to another, receiver and sender. We can see if we can position directly to one chair or directly to another chair.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yep. Yep.
Then we can position you on moon together from one system. Or we can land you in different places. We need, actually, it's a very desperate condition. If we cannot test with people in Linz in December, we come to a part of a halt and random bringing mobile people across. We thought the knowledge seekers would carry on doing it, and somehow it came to stop. And that was good because the new system is finished. But when the old system is finished, the new system, we need physical people. All the Italian Germans who've been once, they'll be the best volunteers to come back.
Yeah. I'm Italian, but I hope not to give you any trouble.
No problem.
Well, when I say Italian, I'm an Australian, so.
It's Australian, Italian, yeah. But we need this to be done. Especially, I asked the German, the Swiss, the French, the Spanish, to the British to get signed and done this week, today, tomorrow, because we have to plan it and it has to be done. Otherwise, we come literally to a halt if we cannot test in the center.
Yeah. Well, I'm booked in, so the only thing is the space flight. That's probably out of my reach at the moment.
A space flight, it needs people with a specific characteristics. I mean, the first couple are best for it. They're well experienced. They know each other very well. And we can do a lot of pre-testing and then testing of this, and it'll be done from Linz anyway.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Yes, we got Jalal with a hand up here. Let's hear from him. Hello, are you there, Jalal? Well, he may be busy at this moment. Just let him come in when he feels fit, I guess. Marco has a question in the Q&A. Is it possible that the Foundation's teachings are being transmitted in another dimension than the one we are simultaneously living in?
We always said from the beginning, when we teach, we don't teach only to the man. Teaching is at the level of the soul from the beginning. You hear it in the voice of the man, but the others understand the way as you dream, go somewhere, they listen and hear through the elevation of the soul knowledge. It's not exclusivity of man this time. We are not making any more, what do you call it? Teaching only one ayatollahs and one religion, and then they become dominated is for everything.
Okay, question in the live stream from you. If a plasma needs to have at least 2 magnetic fields to be created, does that mean that there are 2 creators? And if so, does the creator have a partner too?
Called Mitra.
Mitra.
if we don't have any questions, we'll call it a day. And let's see what we can gather and what we can bring in. And let's see what will lead up to next week and how we progress in the knowledge and technology.
Okay,
And I go
sorry.
back something to do. If you, because this goes back to our doctors in Germany, if you like to be processed through, especially Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Parkinson is a very specific things which the foundation is supporting with our doctors, is because it's both in the level of the soul and manifests itself in a physicality in a direct way. We can see it. Please contact the Keshe Foundation. They have a charge that has to be met, but we need another maybe 20-25 people with the Parkinson for them to complete the process. There's a reason for it, because there are different aspects of the Parkinson, and they have tested and they have a success with it. And we need to go through this, and then hopefully we're still sorting out our position with the Italian clinics in the next few days. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day? Or Jalal Fatih?
Mr. Keshe, it's Dean here again. Sorry, Rick, may I ask you a question?
Yes, carry on.
So, after what you've just said, you've just spoken about, if this position takes place and you get enough souls, or you get people to come in to the center, will this have a direct emotional effect upon humanity? Will it? How will it develop?
What?
If this position takes place, where
Position?
you get enough people to come forward, and you over Christmas, how will this affect the emotion of humanity? How will this reposition?
The reposition brings different confidence to the society. People see a different angle to life. Will change overnight the whole what we call persona of life on this planet. You got to remember, you personally will be there seeing one going from one to another unit and recording it and broadcasting it. And when people see with their own eyes, they don't need any more flights. They don't need to be shackled by governments and be shot on the street because they want to be out of the street. We saw it in Germany between East and West, with the walls and mines between the two parts of a city, where they can just move along and nobody can know whatever. Once people see it physically the first time, it will change everything. It will touch every being on this planet. Freedom of soul, freedom of physicality. Yes, it will do. And as the man who broadcast everything live from the center, you'll be instrumental in it.
So,
and,
Mr. Keshe, sorry, can I just say, so will this will end the war, not in the physicality, but end the war?
This will end a lot of things. This will, and once you can show man can travel and be transmuted the way what we plan, we are hoping to be successful. We are hoping it will be done. Once we show it, do you think the pressure on the governments to finish the airports, wake up the pressure in you, a lot of things will change beyond imagination. Would there be a war? Would you sit in somewhere and to be waiting for a bullet to come? Or would you change the soul of the bullet? Go back to some of the teaching years ago I gave about how we'll let the nuclear warheads in the silos to be in their own silos. They'll never leave. Now maybe you understand how. We are not going to change the soul of the missile. We're going to change the soul of the man who pushes that button himself. He will not push, he will not do it. Once you can visually show what you interviewed a lot of people coming out of that room in the past 2 or 3 months.
I have, Mr. Kesh, yes.
Yeah. And you see the emotions that come in. I've seen the emotion you show to them, how they trigger you in what they tell and what they went through. Now humanity will see no shackles of borders. When we can bring live people from different corners of this planet to here, and we can send from here to different corner of the planet, and within seconds. I said to the American people when we met in Brussels, I said, give us one thing in Tehran, and we deliver it to Washington in the White House within seconds. They laughed. That's 14 years ago. No, 10 years, 12 years ago. In 2011 when we met. So exactly 17th of November, exactly 11 years ago. This is not something new which we just come up with that will do that. I said to the American delegation in the cafe when we met in the restaurant, talking about handing over the key. I said, give us something in Tehran, and within seconds we give it to you in Washington. You can check it's what you said. Now it's a reality. How would our government see what you, as Mr. Dean Butler, broadcast live? One person moving from one unit to another. Then what would be the reaction in December, in January, when we start shipping people from different part of the world and sending from here out? It's an evolution in the science, it's not a magic. So it will have effect. So man will feel free from the shackles of restriction of everything. Would you like to live in camps which you have to look for food and everything else as a refugee? Or you'll be free in the city to walk and you can move from one place to another? There's a very big strange, I go through it, I see it more or less every week, and it is amazing if you understand the consequences of this, what I'm going to explain to you. What we see as refugees over past years coming from Iran, Syria, Libya, and Iraq, and the rest of it, people with no clothing walking the human path. Poor, they come here going into the refugee camps for years to be given a piece of paper that they can come out of the camp having good, cannot do anything because they are not given this, and then there's always fear of can't work, can't do anything. And we see a new type of refugees called Ukrainians. The Ukrainians in Europe, now they come with the top model cars, they stay in the most expensive hotels, they eat in the most expensive restaurants, and they are still refugees. We see Syrian and Iraqi and Kurd refugees walking on a pavement because they cannot do anything. They have enough just given to them to survive. And in the restaurants across, in the most expensive French restaurants in Vienna, Ukrainian refugees. Is this correct? I've never seen so many top brand cars being driven by refugees. BMWs, Mercedes, and God knows what in Europe. Do we need to have this status? And do we need to keep them in camps, and the other refugees are paid to live in the most luxurious hotels in Europe? Because they know and they have influence to get it as refugees. We see today what they call them become refugees exports of every aircraft possible into Iran, that the families of the rich ayatollahs are taken out of Tehran in case the regime changes. Billionaire refugees on the name of the religion. And there are the Iranians who have no food to eat and they have to wait for the handouts in refugee camps. Who would you give this technology to return those who escaped by killing back to Iran to be put under the judgment of the system? Or would you free those who are in the shackles of the refugee camps? Give them the freedom of the whole planet. I go with the second. The first one, but the others will sort out. At the moment, you cannot get any aircraft into Iran, but somehow these people are getting aircrafts into Iran in the most private airports and putting their families with all the jewels into it. In case regime changes, we are out. Exodus of billions of dollars on the back of the same as the Ukrainian refugees. A lot of you in Europe, you will start seeing a lot of ayatollahs on the street. They might change their clothes. So what do we do? How do we do it? We have to bring the change. When I can take hundreds and thousands of people in political prisons into the other countries which they are welcome to be free, which one would you help? Should be a woman who wears to be free, imprisoned and raped, and then the bullet into her head. In the name of, I'll go for freeing those with these systems. That's why we want to test so fast. You do not understand what we see. I saw a video sent to me. I get huge amount of videos sent out of Iran, and some of them is devastating. A man getting beaten up by 50, 100 police officers on the floor and still getting beaten up. And one says, move aside, I'm going to shoot him. The guy on the floor, and he gets shot. I thought it was a plastic bullet. I had to freeze the picture, and you see the fire coming out of the bullet, out of the barrel.
Mr. Kesh, what you've just spoken about, that's bringing forward many things. The image on the screen reflects a different reality. Do we need to go into that reality? I'm sure it exists. Do we need to
which
express
reality?
it?
The reality is there, of course. If you don't express it, how people would know? Why do you shoot a man, tell the other man, move aside, I want to shoot him, and the man who's been beaten by 50 hooligans in the name of the police, and then be shot? You don't do that to animals that you. We take the love of God from the Islam and the turbines which they, in the name of Muhammad, his name, abusing humanity.
So, Mr. Kesh, this transmutation will end this. Will bring about a change.
Has to be. That's why we are pushing. We need to do the transmutation. It's not just Iran. It's many places around the world. Suppression of man has to stop. And this technology, for the first time, allows it. What happened when you was the place, the position of your brother, your sister, your friend, your family, and somebody you don't know who is put into shackles in a prison somewhere because he wants the freedom. And they can go to the prison and he's not there. We have removed him. This is not the theory anymore. It's the reality of the technology. It is what we have in hand, and the Keshe Foundation is the only scientific organization. We are not doing it by moving souls, and technology is there to do. If we can send a man to the moon in a given position, and we can bring you out from Australia to here, we have the same knowledge to free many political prisoners which are there, wanting freedom for themselves and their family and their nation. I will not fight with a bullet. I feel I've delivered technology what they don't have anything to fight with. It doesn't matter where you go. A man has to be free, and we have the knowledge to do it. We don't need to march on the street to be shot at. We need to march the space of the universe to enjoy. If Christ could get himself off the cross, the knowledge is here to get every man which is being put on the shackles and get beaten up. Young girls at the age of 14, 15 get raped, and then because they cannot shoot a virgin girl, you cannot kill, but the God-forsaken name of which religion, and then they rape them, and then they can shoot them because they went on the street to want freedom. Our job with this technology is to take them out. And then the same to bring their leaders into justice. And we need to complete the enhancement units. It's not just for flight, there's more behind it. Political prisoners, abused prisoners, those in psychiatric hospitals shackled as beautiful people.
So for the love, Mr. Kesh, so from the love of the knowledge seekers and the people that come into the center, this can then be for the love of all, to free all.
Yes, it has to be done. We are at the verge of a breakthrough in science, and we have proven it. It's not theory. You've been there, you've seen it.
Yeah, I felt the feels there, Mr. Kesh, many times.
For love of God, why a man with no sense and turbine calling himself Ayatollah allows others to be killed for him to be empowered to this? Muhammad said, don't touch Iran. They're already religious. They already have the religion of themselves. Why makes a man of turbine to kill more Iranian in the name of the same religion? We take the love of God from your names of Ayatollahs, let alone your children. We need to complete this enhancement unit as fast as possible. To be able to do, it's not just for you to go from one unit to another. It'll bring a new dimension of freedom. No man can abuse another man. No man can put a 14-year-old on the bed to be raped by 10 Sepah and revolutionary guards because she's virgin, she cannot be, and then put a bullet in her head. It's not just woman and be free. It's humanity has to be free from the shackle of these abuses. And now we have a technology to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. So for the love of all, see you soon, Mr. Kesh. Thank you.
Hopefully. See you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. You move away. I won't like to dump here.
Hi, Jalal. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Kesh. How are you?
Still good.
Thanks God, Mr. Kesh. Mr. Kesh, you brought one topic here, and unfortunately, you said it only one time. So can you please open it a little bit more? And that is the aura of the man.
The aura of the man is the interaction of the fields of the gases of body of the man with its environment. Up to now, we didn't know what aura is. Now we know that the body of man is made of gases, is a dynamic plasma. So in the interaction with each other and the atmosphere, like the earth and the sun create a field interaction, we call it aura. So now we know this. Well, now we can interact with this aura and allow what goes in and what comes out. We can feed the cells of the body of the man through the aura, but this is too complicated. You can work through the soul and feed the soul, and the soul, which is led to the creation of these ganses and their position, what we call kidney or whatever, let that do it. Instead of dealing with millions of cells and rays, you feed one station which has control over the rest. And that's why we feed through the soul. And that soul feeding creates a different aura. Man will see a different aura once you start feeding through the soul than trying to interact with at the moment as you see the interaction of the field.
Is the soul of the...
Let me explain to you something very maybe some of you will understand. When you deal with the soul of the prophet, when you deal with it, when you see people, the holy people, in a white or golden color, it's not their body anymore. You're actually interacting with the field of their soul, because that's what we do in the system. We embediment it in, because it's the soul which interacts. This is why I always said the Universal Council members will be known by their soul, because they shine. They are in that position as the prophet of the past. And we'll see it. You will feel it, you understand it. So when we talk about the aura, we talk aura of the soul, or we talk about aura of physicality. If you see a light around the man as embedded in it, you see the light of his soul. This is what we said in the systems. People say they feel they're in a cocoon, because the soul has expanded, but it hasn't become to be interactive with his environment. But it exists. It is because we need a man looking inside from himself. It's not from outside to look in. And when you see the man walking, we all have an aura. You go take the close touch to a skin, and you see the other one feels. Because that's the interaction of the auras. The fields of the, because we never knew our body is made of gases, plasmodynamic. That's all.
And this is the line of communication?
Yes, it can be. How do you touch your child and she feels love? How do we as parents, we caress our children on the head and they feel the emotion of the love we give them? How many times your children have come and asked you, Papa, can I have a cuddle? You don't feed them. You transfer energy through these fields.
And this is what we need to do even with the ganses, without even touching the ganses?
Yes. I keep on telling you, work with the fields.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. Rick, let's call it a day.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much.
Ruthie had a last question. If the mobile test needs a visa, she put her hand up, but she
has to be the authorization of your government. Yes. Has to be. We are not breaking laws. We have actually drafted the letters to go to the Austrian Foreign Office and Foreign Secretary for this purpose this week. Because when we are ready, we can say, we can't say we wait. When we are ready now, we are ready to go. Documentation is already started. Thank you very much, Rick.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh.
See you next time.
Okay, and thank you everyone for attending today's 458th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 10th, 2022. Our next public teaching workshop is the public meeting for testimonials, which comes up on Monday, November 14th. and people are welcome to bring their testimonials of the plasma technology to show and tell there. And we'll have a long list of testimonials from the Brazilian community as well to show and talk about. And so we look forward to that. That starts at 8 p.m. Central European time. That's on Monday the 14th, and at the usual channels. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we'll see you next time around.